This is the first one on Netflix. Korean drama costing up to 70 billion. It only cost 35 billion. Monster in the Capital is fierce in scale. The cast is also quite strong. By Kim Soo-yeon, Kim Hae-suk, Jo Han-chul, and top Korean stars, starring Park Seo-joon and Han So-hee. After the show was released, Japanese netizens broke the defense one after another. It hurts to chase the actors. Han Suk-see has also been threatened and intimidated many times. Just watching the beginning of this drama, our anger will also be ignited. Not much to say, the story begins. Prepare to retreat within 48 hours. All local research information. You must bring them all back to your home country. Things that cannot be taken away, all of them will be destroyed. Leave no trace. Those living innocent people, turned into cold moon bodies. It seems to be telling the story of the brutal massacre. This crime is difficult to write down. Insects. The iron door behind him suddenly shook. He is calm. Put the serum into the suitcase and evacuate all remaining households. Doused with gasoline and burn. As for the victims who were too late for the experiment, they all died tragically in a hail of bullets. At the same time, a huge creature broke through the iron gate. With the entire base, disappeared in the vast firelight. The Japanese army turned its claws into North Korea. At that time, Seoul was renamed the capital city. Countless young and middle-aged men have been coerced. Join the Japanese army camp. Violent incidents can be seen everywhere on the streets. People are miserable. Not only that, with their arrival, a series of missing women cases also occurred in Beijing. Came here with my father. After being introduced, the two decided, go to Gyeongseong, a know-it-all in Beijing, to get some information. Gyeongseong started from scratch by himself. Years of hard work. The busiest street in Beijing. Home founded with the highest quality. And Jinyutang, the largest and most famous pawn shop in the world. It is said that whether it is money or things, even human life, as long as the remuneration is equal, he can solve it for you. Therefore, he is loved by people from all walks of life. There are countless beauties with money. People give him the honorific title Jonglender. I didn't expect a life that would be in the spotlight. After the Japanese troops arrived, completely beaten back to its original shape, Police Chief Ishikawa tied him to the interrogation room. I just poured a bucket of cold water on it. Various capital punishments plus verbal abuse. He also accused Zhu of having an affair with the director's wife. Jonglender previously wanted to curry favor with various forces. I did give my wife a gift. But the matter of having an affair, he is really wrong. After some intimidation and threats, Ishikawa is finally happy. Tell him the real purpose of kidnapping him. Akiko of Chunyue-kan, having an underground affair with Ishikawa. 7 days ago, Z said with joy. She is pregnant with their child. But after that, she disappeared mysteriously. Ishikawa's wife Yukiko, born into a noble family of generals. Ishikawa didn't dare to offend her, can only look for it secretly. But there has been no clue. He heard that in the capital. Whether it's looking for people or things, still asking for news. It all depends on Jonglender, who is famous all over the world. I made up my mind on him. He also threatened that if he couldn't find anyone, it will take away everything that the cargo owner Jong has. Send him to the army. The deadline given by Ishikawa. It was before the cherry blossoms faded. Cherry blossoms bloom for a short period of time. It blooms in an instant. When open to the extreme, you will be thankful in a blink of an eye. There is not much time left for the cargo owner Jong. The relationship between Mingza and Shijo, it has long been an open secret. Who ate the heart of a bear or the gall of a leopard? Dare to do anything to her. Lender Jong thought for a long time, speculating on Akiko's disappearance. Should and recently, related to the controversial case of missing women. But even the Japanese army couldn't handle this case. Where did he come from? A change of mind. Why don't you just sell your property and run away? The housekeeper Luo Yushi stopped his idea. Most of Jong's lender's properties are for sale urgently. The news will spread throughout the capital immediately. It will also reach Ishikawa's ears. In addition, Ishikawa has already arranged manpower. Surveillance near the pawn shop. I had to implement the second method. He is responsible for finding the whereabouts of Mingza. Try not to attract Ishikawa's attention. After Japanese troops stationed in Beijing, in the basement of Wangcheng Hospital, biological experiments continue. They have to come out of the dungeon every day. Take away 2 innocent women. No one knows the purpose of the Japanese army. I only know that those women are covered in wounds. Looks extremely scary. They were separated into 2 studios. Because I haven't eaten for a long time. Saw a plate of cakes on the floor. I couldn't help but wolf it down. Pastries are okay, but the water in the bowl. It has long been included in the research results of the Japanese army. Insects. Not long after, the person in room 1. Symptoms begin to appear, writhing and groaning on the ground in pain. She kept banging her head, trying to relieve the pain of bone erosion. The people in room 2 are quite quiet. Just some symptoms of vomiting. And Kato faintly felt. The experiment may be successful. Luo Yuaji found an acquaintance and sold her jewelry. It has spread rapidly in the capital. No one dared to help him escape. But her friends still gave her an idea. I heard that 2 Manchu spies came to the capital. My former friend's daughter disappeared for 3 years. There is nothing anyone can do. As a result, the spy took action. It only took half a month. He brought his daughter back. The two of them said nothing. We soon exchanged hands. I didn't expect it to be evenly matched. No one is left behind. Kaeyun has no ill intentions in coming here this time. I want to ask Zhang Lender about something. Painter Sakamoto, a person related to his mother. Thinking about finding him. You can find the whereabouts of your mother. It's just that my mother has been missing for 10 years. Hard to find more news. In addition, the cargo owner Zhang cannot protect himself. There is no idle workgate at all. Mind other people's business. He found his friend Kwon Jundu. Inquire about Mingza. Kwon Jundu's father is pro-Japanese. Rely on this layer of beauty. Established a firm foothold in Beijing. But Kwon Jundu is passionate. Reluctant to let go of the hatred between country and family. Going along with his father. It is said that he has been working for the Patriot League. Kwon Jundu and Myungja once had a relationship. However, the other party quickly fell into Ishikawa's arms. Although Kwon Jundu is resentful. But still not stupid enough. The woman who kidnapped Ishikawa. He doesn't have any clues here either. Here he is. Creditor Zhang returns to the pawnshop. I learned that Luo Yuaji had brought back 2 Manchu spies. If you take a closer look, you won't see exactly what happened just now. The woman he fights with? Kaeyun and her father are experts in tracing people. Over the past 10 years. They received more than 200 missing cases. About 140 people were found. Zhang Huo mainly looks for Mingza. He has the best connections in Beijing. Kaeyun needs news about her mother and painter Sakamoto. The two parties hit it off immediately. Decided to join forces. Over here in the laboratory, the officers dared not approach the cells. Hire a painter. Ask him to draw the conditions inside. I saw a bloody mess in the cell. When the painter raised his flashlight and looked at the ceiling, a behemoth suddenly rushed towards him. It turns out that this person is Sakamoto, who Kaeyun is looking for. He graduated from Tokyo Art University, but because no one appreciated it, he became powerless. To improve Japan's medical standards, director of Wangshan Hospital, has been assisting the Japanese soldiers in conducting experiments. He invited Sakamoto, use a paintbrush to record all experimental processes. Shocking scene. It made Sakamoto's heart suffer a new blow. Still a woman in blue. Always cheering him up. Sakamoto gradually cheered up. In addition to cleaning the laboratory, women usually. I can only stay in the room and wait for Fa Luo. Sakamoto always sees. But he didn't expect the monster to be drawn this time. Jingren was the mutated woman. Look at the carved necklace on her chest. Sakamoto has mixed feelings in his heart. Kaeyun left the hotel late at night. With good kung fu. Sneak into Ishikawa's mansion to find out information. I didn't expect that she would find out something fishy. Mrs. Ishikawa Yukiko gave a letter to her servant. After that, the servant took a rickshaw and left. Searched everywhere she could go. Still nothing. Ishikawa's people are still behind him. Zhang Daisheng didn't dare to make any move at all. The Japanese samurai learns that he is being targeted by Ishikawa, holding a worthless chamber pot. Lender Zhang didn't take it seriously. After some verbal humiliation, just drive it away. The samurai was furious and shouted on the spot. But everyone in Jinyutang is not easy to bully. A samurai can only take people with him. Between him and Zhang Lender, it can be considered as a formal tie. Fortunately, Kaeyun already has a clue. She sorted out Akiko's interpersonal relationships, thinking of the person who wants Akiko to disappear the most. It's Ishikawa's wife Yukiko. Kaeyun found it the night before. The rickshaw driver who once pulled Akiko, under severe torture. The coachman told Yukiko to order him. Take Mingza to Wangshan Hospital. Akiko disappeared after that. Ordinary people can't get in at all, but Zhang Lender thought. My friend Kwon Jundu's father works for the Japanese. The lender spent a lot of money. Rented Kwon Jundu's ID card. Cha asked Kaeyun and his daughter to dress up in disguise, in the name of an unmarried couple. Rushed to Wangshan Hospital. The guard held Kwon Jundu's ID card. After examining Zhang Lianju and his party for a long time, only then did I finally take off my guard. Let them pass. Before coming here, I wanted to protect my identity from being exposed. They asked specifically. A doctor well known to Kwon Jundu's family. I have a day off and no medical visits today. The pawnshop boy Japping saw the right moment and shouted. Pretending to have stomachache. Attract others' attention. Kaeyun took the opportunity to sneak into the archives room. While looking for Akiko's information, a janitor came in and asked. Caught him right. His accent sounds like he's Manchurian. At the critical moment, Kayun's dad pointed his gun at the cleaner. Threatened him not to make things worse. But the cleaner's next gesture. But it shocked the two of them. The doctor heard the tragedy of japping. Take out a wrist-length needle. Just one shot. Keep the medicine until the disease is cured. At this time, Kayun and the two had already left the archives room. Kohei immediately sat up as if relieved. Praising the doctor is really a god. His stomach no longer hurts as soon as he comes. City disease. After that, he and Zhang Lender left without looking back. At this time, there was a burst of gunshots from nowhere. Zingren broadcast notification. It's just an exercise at a nearby military base. But Kayun clearly heard it. The gunfire came from downstairs. She found out that there was a military ward behind the hospital. Many Koreans were moved to the basement there. Never appeared again after that. Maybe Akiko is being held there. Cleaner brother. Also after being sent to the basement, suddenly evaporated. Even hospitalization records have been deleted. And the reason why the cleaner is willing to provide information, it's because he is a member of the Patriotic League. Kayun decided to stay secretly to find out. Let Zhang Lender take Japing and leave first. Just getting ready to leave, the two were stopped by people from the hospital. Asked to check identity. Or did the front desk nurse come to the rescue? Zhang Lender just escaped one letter. At the same time, an emergency occurred in the basement. Japanese soldiers suffered heavy casualties. Kato didn't have time to check. The monster in the fourth room stretches out its tentacles. The soldiers who attacked Silkworm Yishi. Another soldier saved his comrade. He rushed over with his gun raised. But he was stabbed on the spot and died. In an instant, blood splashed everywhere. This extremely horrific scene. But Kato couldn't hide his excitement. The biological and chemical weapons goddess he studied so hard finally came to the world. Air raid siren sounds. The hospital started cleaning up all the patients. Zhang Lender felt uneasy. Leave slowly with the crowd. No entry or exit signs are erected everywhere in the hospital. Wait until the complete lockdown. Kato ordered his men to get nitrogen. Put the monster in the cell to sleep. Prepare to move to the next experimental site. Out of self-protection mechanism. The monster will emit when in dormant state. Dots of poisonous spores that resemble snowflakes. Once exposed to the uncertainty of life and death. People in cells without protective equipment. They all reached out to catch the falling spores. After a while, their skin began to fester. Heart-rending screams echoed throughout the dungeon. Showing a hellish scene. Just huddle in the corner. Akiko, who did not touch the spores, escaped the disaster. I saw an unguarded lookout on the opposite side. Kayun escapes the patrolling army. You sneaked up. One careless step almost missed the mark. She found a safe place to observe. Only then did I realize that this place doesn't look like any kind of hospital. It's clearly a Japanese military base. Massive bodies with ulcerated skin were loaded onto trucks. Kayun was shocked. I don't know if her mother is here. Zhang Lender, who returned to the pawn shop, was not in his heart. Seems to be worried about Kayun's safety. Know your destiny. Still holding it in Shi-san's hand. But he can't see Kayun now. I always feel like there's an empty space in my heart. This feeling is really strange. He decided not to care about Akiko. Still for Kayun. I have to go to Wangcheng Hospital again if I find time. Early the next morning, news spreads of On City Hospital's permanent lockdown. Said he was infected with an unknown infectious disease. Fortunately, I got a lot of bodies. It has been taken over by the military. There was also a machine gun set up at the door. No unauthorized persons are allowed to enter or exit. Owner Zhang suddenly became nervous. Now lockdown means colorful clouds. No chance at all. He was preparing to see what happened. The nurse who had helped him out came to the door. Entrusted by Kayun, the nurse handed him a secret letter. He said he had found Akiko. As for what happened in the hospital, the nurse has no idea. But she witnessed countless dead households being transported out. My heart has collapsed. She didn't say anything, just made a patriotic gesture. Zhang Lender understood instantly. The casualties caused by the monsters on the other side are immeasurable. The bodies piled up in the cell. The luck has not ended all day and night. Kato stays at the bedside of a seriously injured soldier. Ask how things were going the night before. It turns out that transferring monsters is fake. Kato's true purpose is to use several sexual attributes to lure monsters. Inspire its true power. Nitrogen from the wine sprayed before, just enough for the monster to sleep for a short while. The monster soon woke up. The rescuer smashed the Iron Dragon into a dragon. The entire delivery team. In the end, only one seriously injured soldier was left alive. Kato is simply a devil on Earth. He only cares about whether the monster's strength increases. Although the soldiers repeated, it's invulnerable and incredibly powerful. May cause huge disaster. Kato smiled even more proudly. Owner Zhang couldn't find a way to enter the hospital. I had to ask Yukiko for help. This woman is not a fuel-efficient lamp either. She already knew that Zhang Lender was looking for Mingza. A secret reminder that there is no need to look for it again. Besides, there is an infectious disease outbreak in the hospital. Without her permission, no one can get in. This conversation made Lender Jong even more convinced. Ji-zi will definitely be locked up in the hospital. He thought of the nurse who came to report the news and said. Kae-yeon asked him to go before 10 o'clock. Set off fireworks as a signal. The two sides should cooperate inside and outside to save Mingza, so he asked Japing to sit down before the sun went down. I pretended to go around eating, drinking and having fun. In fact, it is a secret line of communication with various parties in the Patriot League. He did a good job of keeping it secret. Even Ishikawa, who has been monitoring, I can't figure out what he wants to do. The Patriotic League helped Jong's lender find the portrait of Kae-yeon's mother. Remind him to go to the tavern to contact another secret source. As early as a few days ago, the tavern owner meets a strange painter. I have been drawing the portrait of Kae-yeon's mother. During the chat, I learned that the painter's name is Shiromoto. Doing things for the Japanese. Exactly 8 o'clock tonight. The boss made an appointment with Sakamoto. Dinner at So-hee restaurant. Let Jong lender go with him. Cleaner uses garbage truck as cover. Bring Kae-yeon and his daughter into the warehouse. There was also a Japanese soldier traveling with him. Don't look at him wearing a soldier uniform. His true identity. Actually, he's Korean. Glasses was injured in a battle. He was forcibly transferred to Wencheng Hospital by the Japanese army. After recovery, take charge of the defense of the basement. He told everyone what Kae-yeon saw the night before. It's caused by charcoal. The war that Glasses participated in before. Also affected by carbon marks. Cruel scene. He is still impressed. The cleaner asked, have you seen his brother in the basement? When I was in my early 20s, I had a birthmark on my right ear. No impression of Glasses, but he remembers the basement. I'm looking for Mingza in Kae-yeon. I kindly reminded her. Be careful of charcoal spores falling in the air. His eyes silently looked at his fellow sufferers. But can't do anything. Being Korean. The whole army. He was beaten and scolded again, almost humiliating him. Every day he feels worse than death. Glasses, I thought about walking away. Get out of this hell on earth. What he hates to part with the most. She is the mother of the family. Sewing machine pawned to survive. Just waiting for him to come home. By chance. Kae-yeon Jay-Z Glasses. Tell him not to give up life easily. Glasses are also determined to learn from the pain. Join Kae-yeon's camp for revenge. At the same time, the dean heard about the monster's power. But the current status of the monster is unknown. I don't know what method to use yet. The Glasses took out a hand-drawn map. Point out to everyone the prison where Zaime was imprisoned. The situation underground is complicated. There are twosomes everywhere. Soldiers with weapons standing guard. In order not to alert the snake. Glasses are coming back to the team again. Before leaving, he paid close attention again and again. Don't forget him. Just before 8 p.m. According to the agreement, Jong lender went to So-hee restaurant with the tavern owner. Just about to go in, but he was stopped by the Japanese samurai who had a grudge before. The other party said nothing. Drag him to the alley and beat him severely. The Japanese soldiers who heard the noise came to check. But because it's our own people who are causing trouble, don't want to care at all. Don't go too far with your next sentence. Turned around and left. Lender Jong was humiliated for a long time. Zhu finally escaped from the Japanese trap, but when he rushed to So-hee restaurant, the tavern owner and Sakamoto have already left. Owner Jong dragged his injured body back to the pawn shop. He always felt. Just survive. No matter what way. No matter how many people sleep with you, it doesn't matter. But now it involves hatred between the country and the family. He no longer wants to be alone. Friend Kwon Jun-do, Ben is an important member of the Patriotic League. Lender Jong plans to join forces with him. Work together to uncover the secrets of the hospital. At this time, the tavern owner suddenly visited. Brought a person that Jong lender really wanted to meet. Painter Sakamoto. I decided to let my father take a break on the top floor of the hospital first. She got into the vent. Find the way to the underground prison. I happened to see the Japanese army taking a few prisoners into custody. Heading somewhere. After they leave, Kae-yeon sneaked into the underground laboratory. The moment I light a match and want to see clearly, I almost screamed in fright. I only see bottles and jars here. There are all kinds of organ specimens. She felt sour, while slowly retreating. But a hand grabbed my clothes. There are still some closed here. Victims prepared for experimentation. They regard Kae-yeon as a life-saving straw. Begging humbly. Need to leave this place. Kae-yeon didn't care about looking for Mingza either. Rescue them from the inner chamber. The vent when everyone is brought in. When the transfer operation comes to an end, there are footsteps outside the door getting closer and closer. Japanese military doctors in white coats perform routine examinations. Just walked into the room. I found that all the people detained had disappeared. Look at the vent that was open. Did he immediately understand what happened? Fortunately, Kae-yeon responded quickly. Killed the doctor who wanted to tell the truth with one knife. The clock has passed 10 o'clock. Signal of an appointment with Jong Lender. Everyone is worried. Was there any accident? Painter Sakamoto is already riding a rickshaw, back to Wangshan Hospital. He explained to the guards. I bought a lot of painting supplies according to the dean's instructions. He needs a rickshaw driver to help transport him to the studio. I heard it was the dean's wish. The guard was not suspicious. Opened the hospital door. Little did they know that the coachman was Jong Lender pretending to be. And Kwon Jundu also sneaked in. But there was no trace of Kae-yeon and his daughter. But there was an upward sign left on the wall. While Dad Kae-yeon is waiting, I met a group of Japanese soldiers going up to the top floor to drink. Kae-yeon didn't know. Knock on the air duct to report to father. But it attracted the attention of the Japanese army. To protect my daughter. Kae-yeon's father stepped forward to deal with the Japanese army. The people in Jin Yutang started to wait for action. Japing together with members of the Patriotic League. Drive the car into the wild and prepare to send signals. Not long after, fireworks bloomed in the sky. While the Japanese army's attention was attracted, Kae-yeon's father took action quickly. And Kae-yeon also came out of the vent. With father. Worked together to defeat most of the Japanese troops. Little did they know that someone was slowly raising a gun behind him. After a gunshot. But the Japanese soldiers fell to the ground. It turned out that Jong Lender came to the rescue just in time. The sound of fireworks covered up the gun battle just now. The troops in the hospital had no idea. But the capital has banned the setting off of fireworks. Ishikawa received a report call. Before leaving, he took a deep look at Yukiko. And Yukiko seemed to understand something. The dean has already thought of a way to defeat the monster. He ordered people to bring 3 4th level criminals. After shaking the bell in your hand, the monster picked up the signal and dragged them away. Ringing the bell means there is food. This method also tells the monster who is its owner. Kae-yeon rescued several children, but Ming Chong was not among the group at all. She asked Lender Jong to escort the children away. Although before sneaking into the hospital, Lender Jong modified the rickshaw, give it a little more space to hide people. But there are too many people present now. Even if there is an extra rickshaw, it won't be able to fit in it. In addition, the Japanese army has discovered that the doctor was killed. About the children running away, be on high alert. Jong Lender and his party. This is the clay Buddha crossing the river. So many people have to be taken away now. It's hard not to be spotted by the sentry. He wanted to refuse, but looking at the victim's arm. The pinprick left by the experiment. If you refuse, it will still stick in your throat. Anyway, saving Akiko alone is a rescue. Saving a few more people is also a matter of saving. Lender Jong gritted his teeth. Decided to send them out of the hospital first. Sakamoto vacates his studio. Give the victim a temporary fix. They discussed letting smaller people hide in the wooden box first. But the girl saw the monster in Sakamoto's painting. Cried out in fright. This attracted the attention of the Japanese army. Everyone dared not make any more moves and waited with bated breath. Fortunately, the Japanese troops outside the door did not break in. Leaving in a hurry. Kae-yeon followed the girl's gaze. Went into the cubicle. I saw records about monsters all over the wall. And Lender Jong also told her. The painter is Sakamoto who has been looking for me. Kae-yeon's dad is playing with a carved necklace. He recalled his daughter who had just learned wood carving. I made 2 necklaces with my own hands. Gave him one. The other one was given to my wife. At this time Kae-yeon was holding a portrait of her mother. Let Sakamoto identify. After learning about the relationship between the two, Sakamoto can only put things into perspective. Swallow it all into your stomach. Lying about things taking too long. I have long forgotten. Kae-yeon is about to collapse. To find mother. She and her father traveled around the country for several years to become a master. Finally got a clue. Now hope is broken again. See the colorful clouds filled with tears. Lender Jong also seemed to recall. One winter. The little figure waiting for her mother at the prison gate. It's just that time is running out now. Lender Jong reminded several children. Next we have to play a game of hide and seek. As long as they are not discovered by the Japanese army. After they go out, you can get another pie as a reward. The Japanese soldiers who just heard the noise already reported to management officer Soma. Everyone rushed to the studio together. Fortunately, Kae-yeon and his team took the first step. Soma found nothing. He doesn't give up. Stopped at the corner. Sakamoto traveling with the cleaners. Checked out the cleaning truck behind them. There was no trace of the child inside. Only then are they willing to let them go. Lender Jong asked the older children to, pretending to be a rickshaw driver, follow him all the way forward. Don't stop and don't look at the Japanese troops with a guilty conscience. At this time, a mysterious visitor visited the hospital at night. Child pulling rickshaw. I rushed out of the hospital smoothly. Wait until he comes to his senses. Already returned to Gyeongseong Street. The surprise of the aftermath. It made him cry unbearably. Luo Yuaji waited in the pawnshop for a long time. She confirmed the letter handed over by Zhang's lender. Hiding 4 children in a rickshaw. Rescue them all. The youngest one asked knowingly. Did they defeat the Japanese army? Can I get a reward? The gods heard the words. Infinite sorrow surges in my heart. The dean arrested more experimenters. Use the sound of bells to induce monsters to eat. A quick and aggressive monster like this can become a powerful support for the Japanese army. It's just that so many experimenters have been sacrificed so far. A monster cultivated from gnats. This is the only one. The dean also specifically reminded Kato to work harder. The subordinate reported the attack on the doctor. The dean was wondering whose hand it could be. Someone else came to report. The visitor just now specified that he wanted to see him. The person coming is none other than Shijo Beauty Yukiko. She came here specially to remind the dean. Lender Zhang has sneaked into the hospital. 6 people on the other side discuss together. Next actions. There are 3 hours left before dawn. To avoid arousing suspicion, Sakamoto needs to get back to the studio immediately. The cleaners are about to change their shifts and cannot participate. Please ask everyone to find his brother. The characteristic is that there is a birthmark on the right ear. The remaining 4 people rushed to the top floor, sneak into the basement along the vents. Before leaving, Kwon Jundo saw Japanese soldiers still sleeping. He picked up the saber next to him. Solve it. But I didn't expect the light of the waving sword attracted the patrol's attention. Lender Zhang followed Kaeyun and his daughter to the laboratory. Look clearly at the bottles and jars placed inside. My heart suddenly. Kwon Jundu came next. I was also shocked. At this time, the Japanese army sent people to patrol the roof of the building. After seeing a pile of corpses, immediately blew the whistle. The whole army received the order to assemble. They rushed to the hospital building one after another. Yukiko is in no hurry to leave. Instead, remind the dean. Lender Zhang came here to rescue Mingza. But she and the dean had made an agreement before. Before the child is born, Akiko must stay well in the hospital. Dean, who received the order, immediately order your subordinates. Take Akiko to a more secluded place and imprison her. And at the same time, the monster followed her cry for help. Slowly came to the dungeon door. Seeing the door switch and thinking thoughtfully, the men threw Mingza into the cell, getting ready to return, but just walked into the elevator. Was attacked by monsters. During the first few times of taking it, while the monster is eating, intelligence is also growing. Now I am about to become just like a normal person. The dean thought. Loud noises outside. It was the movement of the intruder and I didn't pay attention. Ordered to step up patrols. The 4 Kaeyun people also encountered difficulties. There are Japanese troops everywhere outside. Can't run away at all. Fortunately, Sakamoto gave them. Point to another route. Just go straight from the ventilation duct. You can find a laundry room where used clothes are stored. Unexpectedly, when cleaning up the corpses on the roof, a Japanese soldier discovered that the ventilation cover was not tightly closed. He subconsciously felt something was wrong. Go all the way along the pipe. Caught a group of people. Kaeyun took advantage of her unpreparedness. Seized the Japanese gun, but he was grabbed and thrown against the wall. Zhang cargo owner saw this. Rushed forward to stop the Japanese soldiers who are about to shoot. Kwon Jundu took advantage of the struggle between several people and rushed out of the door. At this time, monsters are rampant throughout the underground base. Countless casualties wherever he went. The whole team's Shenel was killed. Both sides are in chaos. Fortunately, Lender Zhang turned defeat into victory. But the battle just now, it also led to the recurrence of his old injuries. After reclosing the wound, the 3 decided to split up. Kaeyun searches the 3rd underground floor. Kaeyun and Zhang Lone then look for it on the 2nd underground floor. But the originally noisy underground base, it's eerily quiet at the moment. Watching Kaeyun acting alone, Lender Zhang felt a hint of uneasiness in his heart. Until I saw several bodies on the ground. That feeling becomes stronger. Can't let him think about it. Monster takes a corpse. Throw it in front of the owner Zhang. At the same moment, he and Kaeyun saw this terrifying behemoth. Lender Zhang was so frightened that he stayed where he was. The tentacles on the monster are coming straight towards you, until the arm is bruised. The pain made him understand everything that just happened, not a dream. Kaeyun picked up a gun and started a confrontation with the monster. A trivial bullet. It can't be hurt at all. The 2 of them were defeated and could only turn around and flee. The monster seems to be trying to fight with the 2 of them. Chasing behind you. Even the soldiers who were knocked to the ground, also ignored by it. Due to its large size, the monster has difficulty moving. The 2 smaller ones actually had the advantage. There is an iron door just ahead. Zhang Lender tried his best. Finally blocked the monster's attack. But I haven't had time to breathe a sigh of relief yet. The Japanese army came again and surrounded them. Kaeyun wanted to fight them to the death. How can I have a banquet against everyone? The opponents all held weapons in their hands. If you really want to fight, I'm afraid there's no chance of winning at all. The police saw the glasses in the Japanese army. Remembering my promise to take him away, Kaehyun decided to be patient and wait and see what happens. Kaehyun's father just heard the noise on the second floor, rushed over immediately. I saw traces of the killing still remaining on the ground. He realized his daughter might be in danger. I chased after him and was shocked when I saw the monster. He was not in a hurry to attack. Instead, he poured the wine on the ground and sprinkled a lot of gunpowder powder. Then shoot to attract the monster's attention. Wait for it to be full, then shoot and ignite the alcohol. The monster was forced back by the flames, but still stretched out his tentacles. Kaehyun's dad's right shoulder was scratched. He endured the pain and threw out the remaining gunpowder, while the monster is burned. Quickly left the scene. Kato led his men to count the casualties. Another entire military police unit died. He looked at the empty elevator shaft. Understand that the monster has learned to manipulate the switch. To avoid further emergencies, all elevator power is turned off. All access to important bases. They also sent machine gun team leaders. The soldiers thus captured an intruder alive. Kwon Jun-do received the message 15 days ago. The Japanese army will hold a large-scale fundraising event. So patriots including Kwon Jun-do planned an explosion. Aaron, the member responsible for hiding the explosives, but was captured by the Japanese army, sent to the underground base. Kwon Jun-do took the risk and came to the hospital this time, just to find him. But Aaron was afraid of Kwon Fa-do and refused to save himself. I have to wait until I get out before I can reveal the whereabouts of the explosives. During the dispute, the patrol arrived just in time, brought him to the dean. Kwon Jun-do's family is pro-Japanese. The dean didn't want to embarrass him at first. Wait until the intruder is written, and a list of all members of the Patriotic League. Just let him go. At the same time, the dean personally came forward. Fined Kwon Jun-do's father, on suspicion of disobedience to his family, extorted a large sum of money. Kaehyun and the two were taken to prison. Manager Shangma recognized Jong Lender. Take him alone. Before leaving, the cargo owner never forgot his promise. I will definitely come back to rescue Kaehyun. Kato is recording in the office. Notes about monsters. It has been hiding for a whole hour. Never showed up again. I don't know what I'm waiting for either. Kaehyun was thrown into the fourth room. The officer questioned her about her plot to break into the base, still forcing Kaehyun to speak. Because I was in Beijing at that time, it is illegal for North Koreans to speak Korean. Seeing Kaehyun refuses to live or die, the officer didn't talk nonsense to her either. Just a beating. Mere skin pain. Kaehyun's will cannot be easily destroyed. The officer simply ordered his men to lift her up, cut off her clothes. I can't bear to look at the glasses next to this scene anymore. Kato arrived in time at the critical moment. Stopped the officer. See Kaehyun's face clearly. Kato felt strangely familiar, but I can't remember where I saw it. According to regulations, Jong Lender was sent to jail, in the same room as Jin. The people in the cell laughed at him. So what if you have money? Wasn't he also captured by the Japanese army? But in Jong Lender's heart, already planning a countermeasure. The other party didn't make things difficult for him. Instead, he cut the rope. Speak in a nice voice. Soma understands that the situation of the Japanese army is not as good as before. Even if the war ends, he doesn't want to go back to Tokyo either. When searching the cleaning truck before, Soma had already seen the reflection from the glass. I saw Lender Jong hiding aside. I didn't say anything because I wanted to sell a favor. Let Jong Lender help settle his wife and children in the capital, and promised to keep him safe. Owner Jong found out from him. The Japanese army captured many people and conducted experiments in the base. There will definitely be no way to save him for a while. But now it's Soma who wants something from him. So Jong, the cargo owner, issued a birth certificate to him. First of all, Shangma must report the news to Luo Yushi. Let her find Kwon Jun-do's father. Give him a chance to escape. Owner Jong also left the key to Aren. Let him wait there for half an hour. Once the lender Jong doesn't come back, take people to escape immediately. As for the third thing, he wants Soma to tell him where Kaehyun is. At this time Kaehyun was taken to Kato's office. She admitted that she came here to find my mother who has been missing for 10 years. When Kato learned Kaehyun's mother's name, thinking about the experimenter before he turned into a monster, said his name. Finally understand why we just met. I think Kai is so eye-catching. Kaehyun fought against monsters. Looking at the situation, the monster showed no mercy. Maybe all the previous memories and feelings, they all disappeared after turning into monsters. All that remains is the offensive instinct. But if we make good use of the connection between the two, maybe we can find a way to conquer the monsters. Kato poured 2 glasses of water. The cup given to Kaehyun was filled with Narain eggs. Fortunately, Kaehyun is very wary. Did not drink. Wait until Lender Jong comes over. Kato has handed over Kaehyun to his subordinates. Warn them without permission. No one is allowed to touch her. Glasses take advantage of everyone's surprise. standing behind Kaehyun, secretly handed her a dagger. After that, Kaehyun was imprisoned in the 4th room. She collapsed on the cold floor. As soon as I turned around, I was attracted by the writing on the wall. There was a sentence written in blood on it. I miss you so much, my daughter Kaehyun. She seems to feel. What kind of painful state is the mother in? With thoughts of her. Leave this sentence tenaciously. At that moment Kaehyun's heart was as sharp as a knife. There are only 2 soldiers guarding the cell. Lender Jong successfully solved the problem. After getting the key, saved Kaehyun. I learned that my mother had also been to the underground base. Kaehyun has no intention of leaving just now, but she doesn't want to put Lender Jong in danger anymore. Decided to go it alone. Before leaving, I gave each other a hug. The 2 agreed to meet again. The Japanese army has no intention of delegating power to Jundu and leaving. Tortured him several times. Jinshi used hallucinogens. Threatened that if he didn't write down the list again, will let him and his family become a specimen in a jar. There is a birthmark on the right ear. Isn't he the cleaner brother? In an instant Kwon Jundu remembered the heroic ambition that he vowed to save the country. But now he is a prisoner. All kinds of torture made him miserable. In the end, the Dragon Slayer becomes the evil dragon. He picked up the pen. Write down Kaehyun Jong Lender, and the names of all members of the Patriotic League. Kaehyun returns to Kato's office, asking where the mother is. Kato did not answer in a hurry. Instead, he took out the water glass containing the human-infested bugs. Explained that the experimenter will mutate with it, evolve into a more powerful predator. And Kaehyun's mother. It was after they tested so many people. The second success story. On the other side, Jong Lender ran back to the cell. It's not half an hour yet. Ah Ren had already left without authorization with everyone. But they were soon discovered by the Japanese army. Amidst the hail of bullets, a large number of the refugees were shot on the spot. Fortunately, Lender Jong came out in time. Saved the survivors. Preparing to evacuate, the Japanese soldiers who are not completely dead yet pointed the gun at his back. But the monster that heard the noise also came over. Don't wait for everyone's reaction. The soldier received the lunchbox. Owner Jong has seen the terror of monsters. These dozens of people were tied together with him. No one can be a match for monsters. Shoot it one bullet after another. Like rubbing. Besides irritating monsters, nothing happens. Fortunately, Lender Jong saw the compressed nitrogen. I understand that this was used by the Japanese army to deal with monsters. He gets wise in his haste. Blast the nitrogen bottle with the butt of your gun. A leaping monster fell into a deep sleep instantly. The spores on the body are also present at the same time. Scattered in every corner of the air. Kwon Jundu's father followed the wishes of Luo Yushi. Remind Ishikawa Akiko is being held in Oncheon Hospital, under the guise of investigating the case of a missing woman. Go and search inside. Luo Yuaji saw that the matter was done. Leave with Japira. When asked about Luo Yuaji, why would you go through fire and water for Jong Lender? She talked about being imprisoned by the Japanese army as a villain. In the dark prison cell, I have endured so many months of hard work. Heobu Ruii left prison. The Japanese soldiers left her in the snow to die. A small figure came over. Pass the dry food to Luo Yushi. Give her a chance to survive. That person is the young Lender Jong. In 1925, his mother was also tainted as a villain. To protect him, his mother hid him in the basement. Tell him no matter what happens, as long as you live well, it's better than anything else. The owner of Jonglone listened to the atrocities committed by the Japanese army underground. I begged my mother to be safe and sound. After that, my mother was taken to jail. Lender Jong has been waiting outside the door. Got to know Luo Yuaji by chance. It's a pity that I never saw my mother again. He remembered his mother's words. It's okay to live a secret life in troubled times. Just seek peace. Although he didn't expect it. One day I will meet a woman. Let him know whether he is safe or not. Actually, it's not that important. At this time, Jong Lender is safe alone. He questioned Aaron. Why didn't you keep your promise? The answer I got was actually, everyone thinks that Lender Jong only cares about money, won't come back to save them. So run away in advance. Kaehyun's father heard the sound and came over. No one was surprised when they saw each other. Feeling relieved. Next, the two of them make a new plan. Kaehyun's father led the survivors to evacuate. Predator Jong returns to the devil to look for Kaehyun. Soldiers on the other side knocked on the office door. Reports say another batch has appeared. Corpse infected with char marks. But the monster is still missing. Kaehyun on the side holds a soldier with a gun. After changing into his clothes, let Kato take him with him to find monsters. There is only one way to stop the monster, fire. But the experiment will be completed soon. How could Kato take care of it? Taking advantage of the presence of his men, he revealed Kaehyun's identity to his face. Wong Bing lurking behind him. Take the opportunity to knock him out. The dean discovered that people in the fourth room were missing. He was furious at the manager Soma. Someone is here to report. Soldier infected with anthrax. 13 more. The dean didn't have time to think of a countermeasure. Encountered new trouble again. I received a call from Ishikawa at the sentry post. Dean H assists in investigating missing women cases. Before leaving, the dean warned Soma, the missing experimenter, but if one is missing, Soma's family will become their substitute. Luo Yuaji joins forces with the Patriotic League, plan to save victims. Passed through layers of dark lines. The last person discreetly burned the information, but the matter was still known to Yukiko and their plan. What kind of twists and turns will the fork go through? Rushed to Wangcheng Hospital, Kohei pretends to be his driver. I also managed to get in. The director originally wanted to use infectious diseases as an excuse, deny anyone access. But Ishikawa brought so many police. It shows that he has made up his mind. It's hard for the dean to stop him anymore. But just now he had asked Soma, move Akiko to another place. Even the Jingxi River will not find it. Kei-yun woke up in a dungeon. Her hands were tied and unable to break free. Soldiers holding machine guns stood nearby. Pay close attention to her actions. Kato is upstairs. Observe with interest. Look at the mutated monster. Can you still recognize Kei-yun's face? With an order, the soldiers sprayed wine and nitrogen gas. After forcing the monster into the dungeon, locked the door. Kei-yun heard Hao's scream behind him. As the door was knocked open, the person she thinks about day and night is already standing in front of her. It's just that it's completely gone. The memory of Guanzi's daughter. After Zhang Lender returned. According to the clues he provided, we quickly found Kato and his team. Glasses saw him coming. Deliberately asked about Kato. What will happen to Kei-yun? Use this to convey information to Zhang Lender. Kei-yun looked at the giant monster in front of him. I also know that that is her mother. All the fears of the past have receded. There was only sadness in her eyes. But the monster can't feel her pain. Follow Kato's orders and prepare to take action. At a critical moment, Kei-yun blurted out the sentence, mother. At that moment she saw clearly the carved necklace and the monsters that originally filled the violent house. He stopped his hand in time, with the colorful clouds calling out one after another. The monster slowly opened its closed eyes. Seems to want to see clearly. A vague figure she loves most deep in her memory. After a long time, my daughter's face gradually became clearer. This is exclusive between mother and daughter. Best memories. Katomi's experiment failed. Order the soldiers to shoot. Mother to protect her daughter. Stand up against the Japanese attacks. With tentacles and a strong back. Erect an impenetrable barrier. This barrier is called maternal love. Just like the words my mother left before. She just wants her daughter to live. And she did it. The attacks continue. Mother broke the chain. Throw Kei-yun to a safe area. The soldiers started spraying wine and nitrogen gas. The mother eventually fell into a deep sleep. Kei-yun looked at her fallen figure. Can't help but burst into tears. At this time, Lender Zhang arrived. Stop her from rushing forward. Pulled her away. Kei-yun has long since disappeared. Zhang Lender learned from Kei-yun, learned the truth about the monster. Looking at the collapsing colorful clouds, I don't know how to comfort me sometimes. Kato understands the intelligence and potential of monsters. Far beyond their imagination. To him, Kei-yun, it has no use value anymore. Give the order immediately. Shoot him immediately upon seeing him. Kwandu has finished writing the list of all personnel, and the Patriotic League's next plans. As agreed, he was covered with a mask. Throwed back to the capital. He is no longer the high-spirited person he was before. Mental breakdown. Keep begging for mercy from the air. Japping parked the car at the agreed place. Chat hotly with the guards. I also took out a few bottles of good wine. Invite the guards to have a drink in the duty room. Soldiers searched the entire underground base. No trace of Kei-yun was found. Come and report. 2 soldiers were stripped of their uniforms. Locked up in a warehouse. It turns out that the 2 of them had already put on military uniforms. Sneaked into the team. Seeing that my daughter has no ambitions. And Soma also brought Akiko who was transferred by him. I want to leave with the team. It's getting closer to the planned time. The tavern owner began to arrange the venue. Ready to meet the crowd. Ishikawa is also sitting in the hospital office. Pray that nothing unexpected happens. The group only has 10 minutes to evacuate. No matter how many people leave, the trucks will all leave. At the same time, the army also blocked the entrance and exit. A hospital-wide manhunt begins. Caillou returns to the train full of bones, looking for mother's figure. A figure slowly walked out of the darkness. Jinkran was Zhang Lender who was seriously injured. Kei-yun still doesn't understand the current situation. Lender Zhang suddenly stretched out his tentacles. Wei wore her body. Fortunately it's just a dream. Time goes back to that night. Everyone tore up the sheets, spliced into a strong rope, falling from the window sill of the ward. Caping is responsible for continuing to attract the guards. Give everyone time to evacuate successfully. The Japanese army has already searched Fan Bu. expanded to all wards in the hospital, slowly approaching them. Mingza lingered at the window for a while. Only then did he carefully climb the rope and go down. Patrolling Japanese soldiers broke into the room, caught them red-handed. Glasses subconsciously hit someone in the future. The sound of gunshots instantly attracted the attention of other Japanese soldiers. The guards don't even care about drinking. Let Shen Ping leave immediately. Then rushed to support, estimating the time it will take for the Japanese troops to arrive. Everyone is speeding up their hands to evacuate. Lender Zhang put up a temporary protective wall in the corridor. He and Kaeyun had the same idea. The longer you can delay, the better. Glasses also came to support, but the Japanese army has a large number of people and enough bullets. They had no chance to fight back. Ishikawa and the dean were not affected by the gunfire. The two talked about infectious diseases in the hospital, but the dean said, only with Yukiko's permission. Only then will all the truth inside be told. The Japanese army saw no one to fight back. Slowly leaned inside. The three of them took this opportunity. He used his gun to kill some soldiers. Creditor Zhang was slightly injured in the chaos. Glasses are not so lucky. The bullet penetrated the abdomen. There is no way back. Before he died, he asked Kaeyun, be sure to remember his name. And he is not a Japanese soldier. But Kaeyun clearly remembers it. That day I clearly made a solemn promise to the Glasses. I will definitely take him out of here. All people in the room evacuated safely. Only Ren Kaeyun and Zhang Lone are left. Before leaving, Lender Zhang held Kai's hand tightly. I have so much to talk about and I don't know where to start. Just agreed to meet you later. But the lender understands. The Japanese army is about to launch another offensive. He and Eren are destined to have one person stay to divert the enemy's attention, to allow the truck to safely evacuate from the hospital. The dean's men brought orders. Capture all Koreans alive. But the officer was already furious. It doesn't matter whose order it is. Order to shoot them all. Except Zhang Lender. Everyone else successfully merged. Colorful clouds never turn their eyes from the window. Thrown down by Zhang Lender. Kaeyun understands his intentions. After all, now is not the time to be emotional. Although Jia Ping is also worried about the safety of Zhang Lender. But he always remembers. Luo Yushi confessed to herself. No matter what happens, trucks must leave on time. Everyone is full of regrets. Followed Ishikawa's motorcade and left the hospital. Only one person, Zhang Lender, is left. The Japanese troops have already rushed in. A fierce gun battle broke out between the two parties. But it didn't take long. We're about to run out of bullets. Lender Zhang can only use the last smoke bomb. Although it successfully interfered with the line of sight. Kill some soldiers. But he was accidentally injured. I really answered that sentence. How could Luo Yuejing be so good? There are always people carrying the burden for you. After the shootout, the Japanese soldiers did not find Zhang Luo's identity. I looked up and saw the vent was open. Understand that he has left along the pipe. Lender Zhang dodges the pursuers behind him, looking for a way out. But accidentally fell from the hole. Finally fell into piles of bones. Kohei handed Akiko over to Ishikawa. Smell the stench of the other person who hasn't showered in several days. Ishikawa felt disgusted in his heart. Maybe he has no love for Akiko himself. I just care about the baby in my belly. Kato returns to the office. The water glass containing the human bugs is empty. According to the memories of my subordinates, 4 people have been to the office. Soma Akiko, Secret Agent Kaeyun, and Zhang Lender. But who drank it? None of my subordinates saw it either. Shen Ping drove away with the survivors. Ishikawa goes back on his word, sent his men behind him. It seems he doesn't intend to let everyone go easily. Japing took a detour several times. I have never been able to get rid of the people behind me. Fortunately, the tavern owner was prepared. There was a big party in the street. Keep distance between 2 vehicles. Ishikawa's men drove away from the crowd. More than a dozen rickshaws came out. Delayed for a while. Men take shortcuts. Finally caught up with Japing. The person in the back of the car. There is no trace. It turned out a few minutes ago. Japing drove the car to the destination. After finding the contact person. Dress up everyone. Zhao Wangbao team stalls for time. Let them escape from the back of the truck. People looking at Jin Yutang. Kaeyun understands that everything is arranged by the cargo owner Zhang. Ren failed to rescue Zhang Lender. To Luo Yuaji. And she just said lightly, don't forget. Zhang Lender can settle everything in Beijing. Whether it's items or money. Even human life. The Japanese army could not find the target. Start clearing the streets of people. Beat anyone you see without mercy. Even the tavern owner was not spared. And Japing was also captured by them and taken back to the police station. Little did they know that the rickshaw had already taken the survivors. Leave from various routes. Kaeyun and his daughter are also on their way out of the city. It's time for the cherry blossoms to fade. Look at the little petals. Kaeyun thought of someone. Asked his father if he could come back alive. Yukiko stood alone in the courtyard. The maid sent word that Ishikawa will not come home today again. After rescuing Akiko, he hates Yukiko even more, not even willing to look at it. Yukiko summoned the dean to investigate the crime. Back then he wanted to do an experiment. Why is it so useless now? Can't even look at a woman. To please Yukiko, the dean brought the monster information. Kei-yun's mother who mutated into a monster. It was General Maeda a long time ago. I just hope that I will pay special attention to the people. And Yukiko's expression as she looked at the portrait. It also gradually becomes more complicated. Jong cargo owner slowly wakes up. Haven't recovered yet. Wen was captured by the Japanese troops who arrived. Then only 2 gunshots were heard. The Glass's mom received a package at her doorstep. Open it and take a look. It's the sewing machine returned by Jin Yutang, and Glass's brand. She immediately understood what had happened and burst into tears. Kato in the hospital has been thinking. Who drank the gnat? At this time, Zhang Lender slowly stood up. The battle just now, he won. He forced himself out of the room. His palm left a strange fingerprint on the wall. And at the same time, Akiko's face was crawling with traces of gnats. She slowly opened her eyes. She recalled, before going to the city hospital, Yukiko said clearly so kindly. Children are important, let her take good care of herself. But why after that? He was dragged to the operating table. He was even imprisoned in an underground prison. Wait for Akiko to calm down. Already in a sparsely populated alley, she saw the shopkeeper closing the stall in front of him. Unable to bear it, I rushed forward. The dean takes Yukiko to the underground prison, although Kato is reluctant, but Yukiko is the hospital's largest sponsor. He can only close one eye. Looking at the monster in front of me, Yukiko called teacher. It suddenly bursts out, but he stopped when he was about to meet Yukiko. And Yukiko's expression becomes more complex. Creditor Jong hid in the warehouse, steal a soldier's clothes and dress up as a disguise, while Yukiko is waiting in the office. Robbed her at gunpoint. The soldiers around saw Yukiko give way to the passage. No one doubts the identity of Jong Lender. He got into his wife's car smoothly, due to excessive blood loss. Soon he fell into a coma. And Yukiko looked at him deeply. The raised hand is suspended in the air. I always get shut down every time. Father is determined to take Kei-yun away. She had no choice but to confess about her mother. Kei-yun's father really finds it difficult to keep his wife, comparable to scary monsters. What's more, he hurt her. Thinking of this, Kei-yun's father was speechless for a long time. And since the last time the monster saw Yukiko, I have been restless in the cell. Looks very angry. There has been another major incident in Beijing recently. There are 11 serial murder cases. Every victim's brain is missing. Death is extremely horrific, and at the same time, Kato also approached Ishikawa. Jin Yutang has been closed and has no customers. Too many suspicious people called me. Want to buy at a low price. They were all taken back one by Luo Yuaji. She firmly believes that lender Zhang will live well, will come back one day. Soon the phone rang again. Luo Yuaji was planning to have some fun. A pair of hands grabbed the phone in advance. Just as she thought. Owner Zhang is back. Japing was tortured in prison. In order to find out information about missing Koreans, the Japanese soldiers used every possible means. Wait for Japing to return to the inner room. The whole body is covered in blood. The Japanese soldiers also wanted to take action against the tavern owner. However, he was stopped by Zhang Lender who came over. I saw Kohei lying on the ground for a breath. Owner Zhang was particularly angry. Rushed directly to the police station to find Shi-ja. Kato told Ishikawa long ago. I suspect someone drank the human-infested water. Thinking of how strange Mingza has been these days, Ishikawa also had doubts. At night he returned to the mansion. I only saw the servants at home, falling in a pool of blood. The brain is missing. Ishikawa originally wanted to get information from Zhang, the cargo owner. Lender Zhang also has requirements. He asked Ishikawa, those arrested on the night of release, all innocent people in Japing. But in return, he is willing to pay a lot of money. Come support the event that will be held in 2 days. War fund donation party. The two reached an agreement. All were released. Japing, who was seriously injured, supported by Zhang Lender, amidst the loud shouts of others, left prison. Before leaving, Lender Zhang left a note for Ishikawa. Tell him about the experiments under the hospital, related to Yukiko. But Ishikawa and Yukiko got married, just to help others buy land. Yukiko married him. I just want to settle in North Korea. Their wedding cigarettes. It was a relationship of interest from the beginning, plus Yukiko's identity. Ishikawa can't do anything with her. But before leaving, Ishikawa deliberately poked Yukiko in the heart. Tell her that lender Zhang has been in love with Kei-yun for a long time. It's such a shame that she didn't have a chance. Kei-yun wanders the streets of Beijing at night. Suddenly I felt someone following me behind me. She lured him to the alley. Just like the first time we met. The two of them fought again, but this time their mood. All have changed. Like an ordinary couple. Kaeyeon changes the hand of Jong Lender. Past unpleasantness. Leave it all behind. But they were soon in the alley. Discovered Akiko who was attacking the Japanese army. At the same time Yukiko found Kato. Asked about the origin of the monster. Only then did I learn that just eating the human bugs. The host will still retain the appearance of a human being. The speed will become extremely fast. Very aggressive. Feeding on human brains. More ferocious than ordinary predators. The reason why Kaeyeon's mother can turn into a monster. It's because an extra anthrax serum was injected into it. Weaknesses of the two forms. Hate sunlight and fire. Very weak to nitrogen. When Mingza and Jong Lender confront each other. Suddenly regained consciousness. See what you look like now. She can't accept it. Even if you run away, you have to leave. Japanese troops fired flares to seek support. The people who arrived immediately arrested Mingza. There are many opponents. Akiko fled all the way to the wild. Still surrounded. Ishikawa received the news and drove to the scene. Seeing Akiko's appearance, he felt disgusted in his heart. I don't even care about the child in my belly. We need to put her in 4 cages. Take it back to Wangcheong Hospital. At this time, Akiko's anger reached its peak. She rushed forward and held Ishikawa's throat tightly. Wait until Kaeyeon and the two arrive. Mingza has fallen to the gun of the Japanese army. Kaeyeon returns home. Father has disappeared. Only one letter left. He went into danger alone and came to Wangcheong Hospital. The Japanese army brought him to Kato. At that moment Kaeyeon's father finally saw a person who thinks about you day and night, and that familiar carved necklace. It's just that things are different now. There is no shadow of him in his wife's eyes anymore. Ishikawa's injury is too serious. There is no way back. Yukiko disagrees. Due to face. I just made a hasty funeral preparation for him. Beautify things. He said Ishikawa was trying to arrest him quickly. Serial killer's unfortunate nature. She looked through the photos she had taken with Kaeyeon's mother. Just in time, the servant sent the message from General Maeda. Yukiko's face suddenly changed. Lender Jong is worried that Kaeyeon will act without authorization. Leave her in Jinyutang. I contacted Kwon Sidu. Prepare to join forces with the Patriot League to formulate new plans. However, Kaeyeon secretly came to Ishikawa's funeral, aiming the gun at the director of Wangcheong Hospital, although the dean received the lunchbox. But Kaeyeon was not spared either. And the monster in prison seems to feel something. Keep hitting the iron prison with your body. Jong Lender discussed with the Patriot League. Blow up the hospital with the bomb that Jin hid. Just halfway through, the tavern owner brought news that something happened to Kaeyeon. But wait until he catches up to the scene of the incident. Only then did I know that Kaeyeon disappeared mysteriously. The murder occurred at Yukiko's mansion. The Japanese army attaches great importance to, but no one knows. Yukiko has long since known Kaeyeon, hidden in his room. After that, Yukiko found Jong Lender. Tell him about women like Kai. Not qualified to stay by his side, but Yukiko refused to tell her life and death. The whereabouts of colorful clouds. Just reminding Lender Jong, if it weren't for her, creditor Jong has long been reduced to the 4th rank. Yukiko's military background, everyone is intimidated. But Lender Jong still caught up. Say it word for word. He will fight to the end for Kaeyeon. Yukiko also admitted. In fact, I have always been with you. Luo Yuaji next to Jong cargo owner. It was after I betrayed the mother of the cargo owner. Only in exchange for freedom. When Japing was in prison, unable to resist cruel interrogation methods. Also gave Jong Lender. Xiao-si from Jin Yu Tang. Also for a little money. Reported to Yukiko. The whereabouts of cargo owner Jong. Not to mention Kwon Jun-do. Jong Lender's side. They are all a bunch of treacherous villains. Yukiko said this and this. I just want Jong Lender to see the situation clearly. Do your best for him sincerely. Yukiko is the only one. But Jong Lender calmly told her. Those people she just talked about. If I hadn't been born in this dark world. I have never experienced inhumane torture. All betrayals will not exist. They endured humiliation just to be free. Just so someone can remember. Them and their compatriots. Everything I've suffered. But he understands in his heart. This betrayal was not the intention, so he never complained. Lender Jong took away all the explosives belonging to Ren. Before leaving, he handed the key to Luo Yuaji. He also said that if he can't come back, remember to sell Jinyutang, live safely with Japing and Xiaoxi. At this time, Yukiko had handed Kaeyeon over to the Japanese army. She was escorted to Wangcheong Hospital. It seems to catch my daughter's breath. Monster breaks through the solid underground chamber, kill most of the Japanese troops present. But as her daughter was kidnapped, the monster also stopped moving. Kato led Kaeyeon to climb to the 2nd underground floor. The monster chased him relentlessly. With an order, the Japanese soldiers started spraying wine and nitrogen gas. A monster that can put you to sleep in cities. This time, I was not filmed. He rushed towards the crowd again. At the same moment, Lender Jong rescued Kaeyeon imprisoned. He handed the explosive pack to Keyun's dad. The two of them acted separately. Before Keyun was imprisoned in the 4th room by the Japanese army. Lender Jong arrived in time, worked together with Keyun to eliminate the Japanese troops present. Kato, who knew he was defeated, returned to the office. Be prepared to carry the anthrax bacteria. Run away with the narrators. Just about to leave the hospital. Suddenly I saw the dying Akiko. I suddenly had an idea in my mind. On the other side, Keyun's dad has already installed explosives. He hung up his carved necklace. Attract monsters to come. Keyun's father made up his mind and walked out, calling my wife's name. At the same time the dynamite exploded. Two lovers may sleep together. And Keyun was also mentioned in Jong Lender's mouth. Learned about father's plan. Can't let go for a long time. News spread about the big explosion in Wangcheng Hospital. Fire trucks rushed to put out the fire. Zhao Zuye Jong cargo owner drove. Leave with Keyun. Afraid of dragging down Su Jinyutang's people. They were in no hurry to go back. Maybe this life. They will all spend their time on the run. Luo Yuaji prepared some money. Let Xiao Si bring it to Jong Lender overnight. Just when a few people met, uninvited guests surrounded them again. Got off the car. It's Yukiko, an old acquaintance of Jong's lender. About her relationship with Keyun's mother. Yukiko didn't elaborate. Just an understatement. Once Keyun's mother, she lost a friend. And the owner Jong was so unwilling to listen to advice. Yukiko's anger. It has reached the peak. She turned around and left, letting her men silence her. The opponent is outnumbered. Jong Hoju and Keyun fought hard. But he was accidentally injured. Tentacles at critical moments. Pierced the enemy's body. It turns out that the monster has evolved too. Even an explosion can't hurt it at all. And these scum in front of me. How could it take it seriously? After the battle, Lender Jong has already fled with Keyun. The monster catches up and is about to attack. Keyun took the lead. Block Lender Jong in front of him. The monster stood there at a loss. Keyun comforted her softly. Ask mother to stop. Not in monster form. Go hurt others again. Seems to understand what my daughter is saying. The monster responded with a cry. Keyun then fell to the ground. Lender Jong hurried up to check. But she was too seriously injured. It takes a lot of effort to even speak. All that's left is Sakura Zero. The hand that picked it up slowly lowered it. Available the day before, she is obviously still in Jong Lender's arms. Make a promise to be together forever. It seems it's too late now. In her most reluctant state, she broke her promise. In the underground hospital, Kato holding Akiko's child, brewing the next plan. Ishikawa's chase for the Titans is held again. Kwon Jundu was entrusted by Jong Lender. Bring a letter to Yukiko. It says farewell. She looked around. People from Jin Yutang sent wreaths, separately to hide the darkness. Because the Japanese soldiers died tragically. Akiko, glasses, Keyun dad and others. Wait until Yukiko reacts. It's too late. Explosives destroyed the entire auditorium. No one in Japan's top management was spared. Without their persecution, finally, people no longer have to live in panic. But things are not over yet. Yukiko is rescued by Kato. Her beautiful appearance is in disrepair. I will have to rely on a wheelchair to walk for the rest of my life. For the future, Kato handed over a glass of water filled with human bugs. Colorful clouds under the sea. Meet mother again. Mother's mind. Remember that sentence persistently. She wants her daughter to live, so she forced the cashier to put it into Keyun's mouth. But for a moment Keyun opened her eyes. There is a lot left unexplained in the ending. For example, what will happen to Akiko's children? Will Yukiko take the gnat bug? There will be changes like Giadi again. It's probably foreshadowing the 3rd season. Is this drama selling well? Regardless of the plot, still obey the Taoism. Some viewers are unwilling to buy it, but it is worth mentioning that Japanese netizens are following them one after another. Actor Han So-hee's homepage contains a curse word on her lower lip. Han Suk-si is also really tough. Return to Japanese netizens. Call this fact. Maybe the series will indeed be anti-Japanese as background, and the main monster is just ahead. But the plot, it indeed restores part of the truth of that year. Some pain that I dare not think about but cannot understand.